Well, I want to pop in here and just ask a question that I think could kind of narrow, or just kind of expand upon this. Do you guys think that the squad is largely, specifically somebody like AOC, who parades the banner of socialism a lot more than somebody like, Ro Khanna, who we nominally would include as being a part of the broader squad? Do you think they're misappropriating that language? And do you think that kind of is why people expect more out of them than the regular politician? Do you guys think that there's anything to the fact that they call themselves socialists, so people expect them to act towards a higher moral calling, a sort of empathy amongst a fellow man that is not represented by a name like Democrat or Republican?
Yeah, I think Ian mentioned earlier that they're social democrats, right? So if they're calling themselves that, they're not exactly socialists. Bernie Sanders, they actually call themselves democratic socialists, right?
That's probably incorrect, but yeah, no, that's right. They do call themselves that.
Yeah, but they're not accurately that, but correct. That's what they call themselves.
Yeah.
So socialism, it's supposed to be a stage towards communism, and to be a socialist, you also have to be anti-imperialist. I was discussing earlier, making the case how if they're supporting people like Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi who are imperialists, then they're supporting imperialism. As far as AOC, again, she calls herself a democratic socialist. The rest of the squad are similar in that ideology, and I'd classify them as social democrats, but again, that's what they call themselves, democratic socialists. They are for things like Medicare for all, increasing the minimum wage to $15 an hour. They're for increasing taxes on the millionaire and billionaire class. They're for breaking up the big banks. Bernie Sanders and the squad, I'm just repeating myself here, but when AOC and the rest of the squad, when they deferred the party leadership on issues involving Venezuela, a socialist country, when AOC takes pictures with the Bolivian coup leaders, when Jamal Bowman says that he supports Israel, when Ilhan Omar said that she doesn't support an embargo on a weapon sale to Israel, but she does support an embargo on weapon sales to Iran because she said that they're committing human rights violations, even though Israel is also a human rights violator. And Amnesty International called for an embargo to Israel. All of them, except for Rashida Tlaib, voted for that horrible stimulus package that gave money to countries the US and its Western allies are invading, and only gave the American people pennies, those $600 that barely can pay off anything. When they're all silent on the most important press freedom trial of our lifetime, and Julian Assange, who exposed war crimes, and his extradition threatens all journalists and puts them all in danger if they follow the examples of Julian Assange and expose war crimes. AOC, Ilhan Omar, and Rashida Tlaib, they voted against Tulsi's request of Congress to report the humanitarian impacts of sanctions we put on other countries. Then that makes them what I learned from my friend Ramiro in his video, that makes them social imperialists. And Vladimir Lenin described social imperialist as someone who is socialist in words and imperialist in deeds. A social imperialist who is most often than not a white European, but in this case for the squad, they're all minorities, is someone who supports progressive social policies and economic policies at home while continuing imperialist policies abroad.
That's right.
Yeah,
yeah, that's right.
They also support the Nordic model, even though these countries, Norway, Denmark, they support U.S. imperialism, right? I think we can all agree with here that they're more so capitalist countries than socialist countries.
150%. Yeah, no, they're really just robust social democracies. They're definitely not. I don't think I think this is another misunderstanding too that I see. I don't think democratic socialism really has ever been practiced either. Like we've seen some sort of syndicalist models and pop up in Spain. Quickly, they capitulated to capitalism, sadly. And then we've seen more existing Marxist-Leninist sort of, probably the best terminology to use for it, systems in China and Russia. But yeah, no, that's exactly right. No, no disagreement whatsoever. I think purely I'm speaking not necessarily towards Franco, but on the internet. Like I think we should be discussing though this problem in a more systemic lens, and we should move away from a lot of the typical normative sort of moral lens that we typically see. We usually sort of will take the approach that we vilify certain individuals. We can express all kinds of disdain and disappointment. I'm pretty disappointed too. I mean, I'm disappointed, but like I expected it, I suppose, and I think that I might not have the same emotional like impetus or anger towards them. So if that is the case, I think that at least the online discussion for the left should probably be a little bit more geared towards the systematic issues, the political economy at large in the United States. So.